hate it. I like summer better than winter. That winter kills me. My weenie's been in any for the last 5 days out here. I ain't kidding. I could flash a cop and not get in any trouble right now.
Larry the Cable Guy, once the king of comedy, known for his iconic catchphrase, "Get her done," and a constant presence on stage, TV, and the big screen, was at the top of his game. His comedy albums went platinum, his TV specials sold out, and he became a beloved character in Pixar's Cars franchise. But behind the fame, something was brewing. With the pressures of constant touring and a body breaking down, Larry made a decision that shocked the world. Why did he walk away from it all? This is the story. The evolving comedy landscape. Larry the Cable Guy became a comedy sensation with his bold, over-the-top persona that resonated deeply with a specific group of fans. His unique redneck humor and exaggerated character became his signature, making him a household name. But as time passed, the comedy scene began to evolve. Audiences that once flocked to his shows started to shift their attention to new comedians offering fresh, different styles. Larry's familiar act, once a guaranteed crowd-pleaser, found itself competing with rising voices that appealed to changing tastes, leaving him to face a new and uncertain reality in the comedy world. Comedians like Bo Burnham and Hannah Gadsby quickly emerged as the new faces of comedy, bringing a fresh, introspective approach to the stage. Their performances were rich with personal storytelling, self-reflection, and a strong focus on social issues. These comedians didn't just tell jokes. They sparked deep thoughts, addressing topics that resonated with audiences on a global level. Audiences no longer just wanted a laugh. They were looking for comedy that had meaning, something that challenged them and offered more than just quick punchlines and one-liners. As this wave of change swept through the industry, Larry began to feel increasingly out of place. His brand of humor, which once felt like a reflection of the everyday man, now seemed out of step with the times. Where his jokes about small-town life, big trucks, and exaggerated accents once ruled, they now seemed distant from the more profound and socially aware narratives that were gaining momentum. Larry wasn't just facing a shift in comedy tastes, he was grappling with a larger existential question. What was his role in an industry that was evolving without him? The shift wasn't just about the humor. He was questioning his very place in a new world of comedy that didn't seem to have space for his brand of humor anymore. This left him feeling disconnected and unsure of where he fit into a scene that once embraced him so wholeheartedly. It was a tough realization for someone who had once been on top of the world, selling out stadiums, to now wonder if his time in the spotlight had passed. Larry found his chosen profession of comedy less relevant with the rise of younger comedians. But could a colleague's success really push a comedian out of the spotlight? Or was his impact overstated from the beginning? And what were his major achievements at the peak of his career? Now, let's uncover the comedy titan who took over the spotlight. From gold albums to TV stardom, Larry the Cable Guy wasn't just your average comedian. He became a powerhouse in the comedy world. His journey to stardom was nothing short of remarkable. When he released his debut comedy album, Lord, I Apologize, it didn't just do well. It became a cultural sensation. The album went gold, selling more than 500,000 copies, and it dominated the Billboard comedy charts, holding the #1 spot for an incredible 15 weeks. This massive success laid the foundation for his career, proving that Larry was more than just a comedian. He was a comedy icon in the making. Larry's success wasn't just limited to his comedy albums. He made a huge impact in the world of comedy specials with Get Her Done, a DVD that became a massive hit. The special sold over 1 million copies, earning platinum status and cementing Larry's place as one of the top comedians of his time. But it wasn't just the sales figures that mattered. It was his distinctive brand of humor, brought to life through his unforgettable redneck persona. This unique style resonated with millions of fans across the country, making him a household name in comedy. Larry's influence spread even further with his role in Blue Collar TV, a sketch comedy series that aired on the WB network. The show debuted on July 29, 2004, and quickly became a sensation. With its mix of comedy, real-life humor, and relatable sketches, it drew an impressive 5,400,000 viewers during its premiere. The success of Blue Collar TV didn't just mark another milestone in Larry's career. It made him a household name, reaching new audiences who were drawn to his down-to-earth, no-nonsense style. At its peak, Blue Collar TV was a powerhouse in the comedy world, ranking as the second most watched show of that time period. Larry had truly become a comedy titan, not just in stand-up, but across multiple platforms. These accomplishments represented the pinnacle of Larry the Cable Guy's career, an era when his influence stretched far and wide, and his reach seemed limitless. It was a time when Larry was everywhere, from the stage to television, capturing the hearts and laughter of millions. At the peak of Larry's career, he was one of the best comedians that every household could rely on. But what could have pushed such a talent into retreat? Was it something he could have managed and kept fighting through? Or were the struggles simply beyond his control? Now, let's dive into the hidden struggles of Larry the Cable Guy. A battle for survival. To the public, Larry the Cable Guy was the embodiment of comedy. Loud, boisterous, and unforgettable, with his signature catchphrase, "Get her done," becoming a staple in pop culture. Fans loved the character he played, a down-to-earth, hard-working guy who could always make them laugh. But beneath that larger-than-life persona, Larry was silently battling a series of personal demons that most people didn't see. The relentless demands of touring and the constant pressure to maintain his public image took a serious toll on Larry's health, both mentally and physically. While he was making millions laugh, he was quietly battling his own demons. Panic attacks became a constant, overwhelming force in his life, leaving him feeling powerless and out of control. Alongside these struggles, Larry was also fighting addiction, a battle that only grew harder as time passed. Despite his outward success, the pressure was eating away at him, and he found himself struggling to keep up with the demands of fame. The root of Larry's struggles could be traced back to a traumatic incident during a TV shoot. He was involved in a horrifying accident where he became trapped in a porta potty that tipped over. This terrifying event left him with severe post-traumatic stress disorder, something that haunted him long after the incident was over. The emotional and psychological scars from that day were deep, adding to the already unbearable weight of physical ailments like sleep apnea and joint pain. By 2018, Larry's relentless struggles had taken a serious toll on both his body and mind. The constant exhaustion became overwhelming, turning everyday tasks into major challenges. To add to the pressure, Larry found himself needing hip surgery, a painful reminder that the fast-paced, demanding career he once thrived in was no longer sustainable. The weight of it all forced him to face a harsh truth. Something had to change, and his body couldn't keep up with the life he had built. The person who once thrived on the high energy of performing in front of huge crowds now had to step back and take a long, hard look at his life. The lifestyle that had made him famous was no longer feasible, and he was faced with the difficult decision to slow down for his health's sake. His story serves as a powerful reminder that behind the laughter and fame even the brightest stars are fighting battles that the public never sees. Beyond health issues compelling Larry to step away from the comedy stage, what other factors could have contributed to his departure? Could it have been a personal decision? Or did the needs of those closest to him require him to leave while the applause was still roaring? Let's uncover the details. Larry the Cable Guy's turning point. Larry the Cable Guy's decision to step back from his booming comedy career wasn't just driven by health struggles. It was a wake-up call about something even more important: his family. For years, Larry had been living a life in the spotlight, touring relentlessly and performing nearly 300 shows a year. While his career soared, the cost was steep. He was missing out on precious moments with his children, the everyday memories that come with being a present parent. Kara, Larry's wife, could see how much his demanding career was affecting their relationship. As the years went by, their bond started to weaken, their time together became scarce, and their family life was falling apart. Kara reached a breaking point and knew something had to change. She gave Larry a tough ultimatum. Either he redefined his lifestyle and focused on his family, or he risked losing everything he held dear, the family that meant the world to him. Could he make that choice? Larry recognized that this wasn't just another request from his wife. It was a tough but necessary wake-up call. For years, he had prioritized his career, chasing fame and success. But as his health worsened and his family life began to unravel, he came to a powerful realization. No amount of fame or accomplishments could replace the priceless moments he was missing with his loved ones. The decision to step back wasn't just about his health anymore. It was about preserving his family, something that mattered far more than the spotlight. In 2015, Larry began to make significant changes. He drastically reduced the number of shows he performed, opting to spend more time with his children and focusing on the peaceful life he had at their Nebraska ranch. The quiet life, away from the hustle and bustle of constant touring, became his sanctuary. No longer bound by the demands of his career, Larry found a new sense of balance, a sense of calm that had eluded him for so long. This was a turning point in Larry's life, a moment where he realized that his true happiness lay not in the applause of a packed stadium, but in the laughter of his children and the quiet moments at home with his wife. It was a difficult choice, but one that ultimately brought him the peace he had long been searching for. Larry considered being physically present with his family as a key reason to step back from actively performing comedy on stage. But could the price of fame have taken a toll on him as well? And what did showing up at every show mean for his physical fitness? Let's find out. The price of fame. At the peak of his career, Larry the Cable Guy was a comedy powerhouse. He was everywhere, from sold-out arenas packed with adoring fans to topping the comedy charts with his hit albums. His popularity reached new heights when he voiced the lovable character Mater in Pixar's Cars franchise. It seemed like Larry had it all, living the dream and soaking in the spotlight. But behind all the fame and success, there was a hidden cost, one that would eventually catch up with him and change his life forever. Larry's career, while incredibly successful, came at a high personal cost. The constant travel, endless shows, and the pressure to maintain his larger-than-life persona began to wear on him. Every night, he performed with energy, but the physical and mental strain grew overwhelming. The fame and fortune that many would dream of started feeling more like a trap. Larry was stuck in a never-ending cycle, always pushing harder to stay relevant, yet sacrificing his health and peace of mind. The weight of it all eventually became too much, forcing him to reconsider his life's direction. As the years went on, the physical strain became undeniable. The demanding tour schedule and the stress of keeping up appearances took a toll on Larry's body, and his weight began to spiral out of control. The result was painful joint issues and sleep apnea, which made the very thing he loved performing feel like an exhausting battle. What was once a thrill has now become a constant struggle. Every time he hit the stage, Larry was not only performing for his fans, but also fighting through the discomfort his body was enduring. Despite the incredible success and the accolades, Larry began to feel like he was trapped in a life he could no longer sustain. The very career that brought him fame also brought him exhaustion, pain, and an overwhelming sense of being stuck. He had achieved everything many would dream of, but at what cost? Eventually, Larry realized he couldn't continue at the pace he had set for himself. He reached a breaking point where the need for rest and the desire for a healthier life became more important than the spotlight he had once thrived in. But could Larry ever find peace of mind outside of comedy? What would he turn to in order to escape the pressure that comes with fame? Let's find out. Finding peace beyond the spotlight. Larry came to a sobering realization. The endless touring and constant pressure of being in the spotlight weren't worth the toll it was taking on his health and family. The sacrifices were piling up, and he knew something had to give. So he made a bold choice, stepping away from the chaos of fame and seeking peace on his ranch in Nebraska, where he could finally focus on what truly mattered. Living away from the chaos of his celebrity status allowed Larry to embrace a quieter, more fulfilling life. On the ranch, he could breathe easier and focus on the things that mattered most: his family, his health, and the chance to give back to others. The decision to scale back his career was not easy, but it was necessary. He went from performing nearly every night to a much more manageable schedule, with fewer than 25 shows a year. This shift gave him the space to be present for his children and reconnect with his wife, Kara, in a way that his fast-paced career had never allowed. The time Larry spent at home allowed him to experience a sense of fulfillment he had never felt before. Stepping away from the constant demands of the comedy world, he was able to live a life that felt more real and true to himself. In this newfound balance, Larry discovered the peace he had been searching for years. He was no longer just the comedian with a famous catchphrase. He was a father, a husband, and someone who could finally savor the simple, everyday moments with his family that had once slipped away in the chaos of his career. Larry's desire to make a difference also led him to focus more on giving back. Together with his wife, they established the Get Her Done Foundation, a charitable organization dedicated to supporting various causes. This new chapter of his life allowed Larry to use his platform for good, helping others in meaningful ways while remaining true to his values. The foundation became another way for Larry to contribute to the world beyond the stage and live a life that was not only about personal success, but also about making a lasting impact. Larry made the difficult decision to step back from the comedy shows he was known for and establish a foundation that gives back to society. But will his influence fade with his departure from comedy, or is he planning a new project that will ensure his legacy lives on forever? Now, let's dive into Larry's new journey. Legacy and reinvention. Although Larry the Cable Guy may have stepped away from the bright lights of the comedy world, his influence is far from fading into the background. Even though he no longer tours or dominates the comedy charts, Larry continues to play a significant role in various aspects of life, particularly in charity work and community events. He's active in the world of bull riding, a sport he's passionate about and regularly appears on digital platforms, staying connected to his fans in a new way. Larry's ranch, which he once sought as a quiet escape from his demanding career, has evolved into something much more. It's now a hub for giving back to his community. The land that was once a peaceful retreat is now a place where Larry can engage with others, host events, and support charitable causes. Through this shift, Larry has found a way to blend his love for his family and his desire to make a positive impact, showing that even outside the stage he can still make a difference. But Larry's journey isn't stopping there. In a bold move, he's preparing to release a Netflix special, which could mark a major turning point in his career. This special isn't just another stand-up routine. It's a chance for Larry to reinvent himself and possibly reshape his comedic identity. Fans are eager to see if this project will allow Larry to shed his famous Larry the Cable Guy persona once and for all. Will this be the moment he steps away from the character that made him a household name? Only time will reveal how this new direction unfolds. What's undeniable is that Larry's story is a compelling one, filled with highs, lows, and everything in between. His path, which started with massive fame and success, was not without its struggles. From battling health issues to dealing with the pressures of maintaining a public image, Larry has navigated challenges that many of his fans never saw. Yet, despite these obstacles, he has managed to reinvent himself, prioritizing personal peace and family over the pressures of stardom. Larry's journey provides an insightful look into the challenges of fame and the relentless quest for personal happiness. His story is one of transformation, growth, and the search for balance. A journey that resonates with many, whether they're living in the public eye or quietly behind the scenes. As Larry evolves, it's evident that his journey is far from finished. Whatever comes next for him will surely reflect his resilience and his openness to embracing new challenges. His willingness to adapt and explore new possibilities makes his story not only inspiring, but a testament to his enduring strength. So, what do you think about the real reason Larry the Cable Guy quit comedy? Was it a decision worth making? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.